Alright, we're doing a oil change. You guys that know how to do this, you can just click like real quick for me. And don't have to watch, but this is kind of just for beginners that don't know how to change your own oil. Okay, so this is how I do my oil changes. Doesn't mean it's right, just means it's how I do it, and that's how and I'll tell you the philosophy behind, or the reasoning why I do it this way. Now of course you can go down and have anybody do it. What they're going to do is drain the oil out, put the plug back in, put new oil in, new filter on, good to go. Alright, and they'll probably check all your fluids. I had this cap off earlier, just checking the fluid level and the color of it. This is your antifreeze, and it'll either be green, the newer ones will be an orangish color, and these are kind of a opaque where you can kind of see through it, and it'll tell you where the fill line is and all that. Brake fluid tells you what kind of brake fluid to use. Now, thing on this, yeah, that's pretty dirty. One day I'll probably suck all the old out and put some new in just to do it, but it's the same thing. There's a fill line on this. Now normally whenever your brake fluid is low, one of two things: you either have a leak or your pads need to be replaced because the pistons have been pushed in and it takes up more space, more fluid has to go in there, so that's kind of an indicator. Now, one thing that I do is I pull off. You want to do this on a flat ground whenever you're checking the fluid levels, but I already did it. I was just a tiny bit low. It was just at the last rib or whatever whenever I checked it a while ago. Always take off your cap. That's going to allow air to get down in there, and it won't be gurgling coming out. Let's see, here's power steering fluid. There's really not much you can do other than check the level of it, color of it. Let's see here. Now's a good time to check your air filter, check your belts. You can see there's no big tears, not a whole bunch of cracking or anything like that. Check your battery connections. Oh, see there? That's a little loose. So see? That's good. That battery's not that old too. Washer fluid. Now, on this car, since it's got 161,000 miles, something like that. This Max Life high mileage synthetic blend was on sale, so it kind of just works out for this car. That's what I normally would like to get. Sometimes it's too expensive, but just so happened to work out. So I got that 5 quarts. On the fender wells, there's a filter type, and I gave myself a note to tell me what size wrench to use. It's a 15/16 and a 6mm Allen. I'll go over more detail with that once. There's the Allen, there's 15/16. Then over here I told myself how much oil goes in the car, and then a 6mm oil plug, and then I got the 6mm there. So next thing to do, I guess, is another thing, you want to check all your hoses, vacuum lines, make sure they're all connected. I had a broken line here, so I just replaced it with this. So far so good. Again, check the tension of your belt, and yeah. Alright, well, let me go under and I'll get back with you. Okay, now as you can see, here's my oil drain pan that I'm going to be using. Make sure you take this cap off. It's a breather, so it'll drain down in there. Now yours most likely will not look like this. This was from previous owner. This is the original plug goes in here, and they stripped most likely this out. So they put this on there, and then you have this little plug here. So then you can kind of see it's leaking. They usually always leak. So you're just gonna loosen this up. Okay. A little bit looser, a little bit looser. Something else, you want to run your engine, not to where this is just boiling hot, but alright, see where it's starting to leak? Now, get that where it's loose, like that. And you should only get about that much on your fingers, not that big a deal. But you want to get this warm so that this oil will flow better and come out. Whenever it flows better and it can come out faster, it's going to bring more of the contaminants that's in the bottom of your engine oil pan. Hopefully your oil filter did what it's supposed to and catch it, but just in case. So, alright, let me finish this, let this finish dribbling out. And good thing about doing this at home is that you can take your time. You can let it drain for overnight if you wanted to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack up the back, since this is on an incline. Well, I'm on an incline, I'm going to have it even higher with these. So I'm going to get this jacked up in the back more level. I'll let it finish draining, and I'll get back with you. Okay, so here's the little trick that I do. That I think, well, this is how I do it. This is one of the different ways. But had this jacked up in the back, so it's pretty level now. I'm not going to climb under here because, well, I only have it on that one jack stand in the back. You still see that it's flowing out pretty good. But what I'm going to do is add some conventional oil, just stuff. And what I'm going to do is, since that's draining, normally I let it come out to about a drizzle. Let's check it again. It's got a little bit more. But I let it come out to about a drizzle. Let me get my filter and get it anyways. And then I poured that cheap oil in there. And what that does is finishes flushing out all the old stuff. You always want to clean your oil filter, I'm sorry, your oil funnel out. Because if you're pouring that clean oil through there and it's collecting on the bad dirt and stuff that's inside there, it's not really doing me very good. Just clean on out. Gonna see how a little bit dirty that was. Not too bad though. Alright. Stick that in there. See where this is at. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's kind of a small drizzle. And you'll only put maybe a quarter of a quart, half a quart. That's probably, oh shoot. About that much in there. Then, kind of come down here. You'll see how much clearer that is. So, alright, let me get back with you. Okay, all that's draining, and it's pretty much done now. Took the air filter out, and you can see there's a lot of junk up in there. But if you hold it up to the sun, you can't really see through it very well. That, my friend, is not very good. So, Just hang this out over here. Get your air hose. And you guys should know this is the clogged side, so you want the air to go from the good side back out that way. You can do a couple taps, whatever, but let's see. If you want to get I did any kind of good. Can't really see. I don't really like these little paper ones anyways. Gotta get it lined up just right. You can see through it. But, all else fails, a whole lot better than it was. So. Alright, that's kind of what you do whenever you're waiting for it to drain. Start it with your hand. You never want to put it inside a ratchet or a air ratchet or anything like that and crank down on it. No. If you want, you can look up torque specifications and all that stuff, but normally on one of these that hadn't been replaced before, you just get them pretty tight. I mean, what you'd think of as tight, not extremely tight. It doesn't need to be extremely tight, but about right there. So, because all you're doing is just keeping the oil from leaking out. So, all right, now here's the weird thing on this. They used to have, flip you upside down and back around. Put this where I can see what I'm doing. This is that, I forgot what it was, 6 millimeter or something. Holy cow. Here's a little tip for you. Get some extra torque. There it is. Yeah, see, I had that on way too tight. But this will allow you to drain what's in this oil cavity now. Like that. You can let that drain out a bit. Grab your 15/16. And normally there's a spin-on oil filter, and you just take it off, put it on the gasket, make sure you get the gasket off, and put oil on the new seal and crank it back up there. Remember, only hand tight. No reason to crank it down, nothing like that, because you have to get it back off. There's that little cartridge filter up in there. So I'll pull that out and come out from under here and kind of show you what all's involved in this and what filters you need to replace and all that good stuff. Okay, so here's the old filter. Actually looks pretty good. Not bad at all. Here's something. I got the cord on here because the stinking battery's starting to die. So, I'm going to bring you over here. There's another good benefit of doing your own oil changes is I let this soak because there's going to be crud just get at the bottom down here. And I just put carb cleaner, you know, my friend, and let that soak for a minute. Of course I have that plug back in there, but we're getting a new gasket on the end of that plug, so I don't have to worry about the seal messing up. There's a seal right here too. Comes with a new one of those. I'll let it sit for a minute. Gonna see how that is. Let's see. But not too bad. I'll let this completely dry out before we put it back in. So yeah, I originally had marked on here 15/16, but I had to be underneath the car before I could remember which what wrench to use. So that's why I put it up here. But telephone. Alright, well let me I got a phone call. Hold on, let me get back with you. Alright, I can't find my tripod. But about to get a little dirty. So here's the two gaskets that it comes with. Well, the big one, the little. Big one, of course, is going to go on your cap. Best way I found to do it is just kind of pinch around the side, and that'll kind of pop that up just a little bit. Then you can get your fingers in there, and you can probably reuse these several times. But since they come with it, I'm not too worried about it. So I'm gonna put this back on. Okay, and then where'd it go? I had another dirty oily rag. So I clean this up a bit and kind of do the same thing. You see where you kind of pinch that? You should be able to just kind of roll that off and down. To being oily, it's kind of hard sometimes. And again, with these, you can probably reuse these several times too. Put it back on there, roll it over, and just like that. And if you want, you can go ahead and reinstall this. This is what I did last time. That's why I think I got it on there too tight. I installed it out from under the car. So I guess I can put more torque on it or something. But I don't do about that tight. And you know what? If it starts leaking, then we'll just put more on there. All right. So here's this part. And you see the little feet? If you can see down inside there, I don't know if you can. There's a little lip, and these little feet kind of click in and pop into that little foot thing. So like that. You see how it stays in there. So what you'll do is now we'll just put some oil on this seal. I'll put a little bit on top of there, and then we'll put that back in there, and that's going to be the same thing. You're not going to crank this on there too tight. Again, just enough to where it doesn't leak anymore, and you can still get it back off the next time. So let me do that. Then the last thing that I do once I put everything back in there is I get carburetor cleaner and spray off everything where the oil is. Sometimes you'll have an oil filter that's above your exhaust pipe, and oil will drip down on there, and it'll smoke forever and stink real bad. But if you use the carburetor cleaner, or if you use just a degreaser and let that drain off, it'll help a lot, keep it from smoking so much. So that's what I'll do. I'll put that back on there and we'll go from there. Get back with you. Okay, so as you can see, it holds 5.1 quarts. You can check online to see how much your car holds. You know, you can check online and find out how much. Your owner's manual will say it also. So make sure you get that right. So since this is 0.1 quarts and this is 5 quarts, I'm going to use my 0.1 with this. I use this in the gear case on the brush hog. As you can see, this is some really real thick stuff. But do a little bit of this. I'll put some oil in. Oh, I'll just dump all this in there, I guess. So if you're going to use an additive, you need to subtract however much oil you were going to put in for how much you're putting in of the additive stuff. All right. I guess y'all don't really want to see that, but anyway, so I'll put that in. There's probably about maybe half a quart of that, so I'll just put in about 4.5 quarts of this. That'll give me 5, and then I can start it up, put the car down on its feet, and let it idle for a little bit, and then we'll check the oil, and then add what we need to from there. It's a lot easier to add than take away, so I'll get back with you. And one more thing that I'll do is, especially whenever you're using an additive, once you empty all the container that's in the container out, fill it up with oil in the case that it came in the bottle it came in. And you can swish it around, and that should, especially with this since it's so thick, and should be able to just get all that money that you just paid for out. That's why I'm using the Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Extends engine oil life. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good about this, so it won't hurt. Just leave that in upside down for a little bit. All right, we'll give it a start, and I'll start it with you guys inside. So there is definitely some stuff you gotta look out for.
And
I want to look at
between the OU Spirit and
Alright, you see that little engine oil right there? That will, whenever you start it up, that will turn on, and then as it builds pressure, it will turn off. So you want to make sure it turns off. Also, while you're filling it up with oil, make sure you look on the ground, because if you're having a leak now, then you need to catch it. But you shouldn't have any leaks if you tighten it up right. So, alright, go ahead and start it. Lights off. And you can also kind of hear it working right sometimes. So. Alright, so we got that. Actually, let's go ahead and might have to leave this down, I don't know. I'm working on getting a GoPro. And you can rev it up 2 times. Get that oil pressure in there. Now, something else you need to do. On a lot of cars, it will have a check engine oil message or something like that. Change oil or whatever. Like here's mine. All you do is you go up there and push that, clear it. Oops. And we're back at 100%. But like on a lot of cars, what you'll do is you'll turn the ignition key on, you'll pump your gas, and turn it back off, and start it back up. And a lot of times that will restart or put that engine oil life back at 100%. And I should be on flatter surface, but whatever. So, start off with cleaning the dipstick off as best as you can. You do want to give this a little bit. I know on my wife's Murano, it has to sit a long time for all that to drain down and give you a good reading. But put your dipstick in. You're going to push it all the way seated and pull it back out. And right there it shows that we're about halfway there, so it means I could drive off and we'd be perfectly okay, but I like getting it at the very top of that. That means it's maxed out full where it needs to be, but that shows it probably needs about half a quart. So we'll accommodate that real quick. Oops. All that drain in there. Again, you'll give it a few seconds to drain all in there. And go ahead and, I know that'll fill it up for sure, so we'll go ahead and clean out the funnel real good, so that makes it easier whenever you get it back again. It's all nice and clean. Put that back in there. Pull this out again. Alright, clean it off again to get a good reading. Stick it down there. And bada bing, that's perfect. You don't want it too high, because if you get it too high, that's almost just as bad as having it too low. But there you go. That's how you change the oil. Not too bad. Did it yourself. Sometimes it's cheap. If you use the cheap stuff, it's cheaper and you can get it done. I found my receipt. Let's see, the oil, $29.99. Oil filter, $10.99. Brought it to $40.98. Tax, 8.5%. Not too bad. Grand total, $44.46. So, again, if you use the cheap stuff and you do it yourself, you can get it done pretty cheaply. Or if you want it done right, because I know whenever I was doing this, if it was a day where we had a whole bunch of cars just stacked up for oil changes, we'd get them in and out just as fast as we could. Whenever it came to a slow drizzle on the oil, we'd put the plug back in and tighten it up, set it down, put oil in, on to the next one. But you know, you're not going to get, if you have this type where you clean out the cap and all that stuff, and you put a little bit of extra oil in to help flush and drain everything out, you're not going to get that. But anyways, y'all comment right. Forgot to tighten that up. So usually on all of battery terminals, especially like this, they're 8mm or 15/16. Or if you have the side post, usually it's 1/2 inch or 13mm. But I just sprayed some battery terminal protectant stuff, whatever stuff I had laying around. After I tightened it up, I sprayed that on just for good measure. Wouldn't hurt. I already have it. And then, if you want, you can just spray this all down. There it goes. You want to be careful with your connections over here. But I'll spray this down, kind of let it soak in. And then I'll come back with some regular water and just kind of rinse it off. But I like keeping a clean engine bay for a couple of reasons. One, well, it just looks really nice. But two, there's an actual function for it. And that is, it is a lot easier to find a leak, or if there's something wrong, whenever your engine is clean, then if you're trying to find an oil leak on an engine that's already really dirty. So, then I'll just come back in here with the water hose and just kind of slowly rinse everything off. I'm not going to use a big power jet, nothing like that. But makes it look nice. And again, you're doing it yourself, so take pride in your stuff that you got. Got this on the shower setting since we're giving it a bath. I'll wash all that off. You'll be amazed at how well it actually works. Just not really scrubbing, it just taking the gunk off. And then something else, I'm not going to let this run until I know this is all dry. But you shouldn't have any trouble with it. Something else you can do is, with your radiator, you can blow everything out this way. That'll help clean your radiator real good. Maybe water coming out of that. But with the cleaning, or the cooling of your car. But this might be more into a detailing of cars and all that, which that's a whole nother video. Probably a really long video, because it takes me like, if I'm really cleaning the car, it'll take me about 6 hours to finish cleaning everything. And that's on a fairly clean car. Alright. That off. We'll get a paper towel. Or you could use your air hose. And since I had polished this, oh man, how long ago was that? That was several years ago. Y'all comment, rate. Hope this helped somebody out. I know a lot of my subscribers already know how to do this, but hopefully I had a few tips in there for people that's done this forever. But anyways, y'all comment, rate. I appreciate you guys following and watching. If you got any questions or suggestions or whatever, just let me know. Thanks for watching. See ya.